Well, welcome to another episode of Midlife Moxie. I'm Gail.
And I'm Jen.
And this week we're going to take on a kind of an interesting topic. We really haven't gone here before, but sometimes we come up with ideas based on the questions we get asked and the
hmm
feedback we get from our community. And this season and some of the last season, we've seen a real return to the classics. And that's things like blazers, loafers, ballerina flats. None of these are new trends. They have come and gone with the ages, and some of them kind of simmer down low all the time. But this has come on like a lightning bolt kind of strength this year. I mean, it is dominating the classics, both classic styles, classic shapes, classic fabrics, classic color combinations. And the biggest pushback I get, I know from my style clients, is that looks old. That looks like what my granny wore.
hmm
So,
hmm
Jen, I think we should talk about how you wear these classics in a modern way.
I agree completely because if people are avoiding, I mean, this happens all the time though, right? Our customer, when I say our customers, I think this is a general statement. A lot of people avoid new trends sometimes because they're just so contemporary, they feel like the style's too young for them.
Yeah.
Right now, what's happening is we're getting this beautiful trend in that people are saying, oh, that's too old for me. But the reality is, in both situations, that's not true. It's on trend for a reason. It's being reintroduced into our world, into our ecosystem, because there's a new modern twist to them. And I feel like before you just dismiss it and say, oh, no, 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 that looks like my grandmother, I think, nope, that's not true. So, Gail, how do we do this? How do we help our listeners embrace the classic trends that are coming into the stores right now?
Well, let's kind of take them a little at a time because I know
Yeah.
the girls that are truly classic girls, they're just so happy right now
Oh, me too.
because
I'm one of them.
they are just everything you love. And here's
Mhm.
a good tip for you. When a trend aligns with something that's your true natural style that you just love, that's the time to really ramp up your closet, really stock it full of the things you love. Because, I remember, I guess it was either sometime last fall, maybe in the season before, I was looking for a pair of tweed wool trousers trousers for a client, and I could not find them anywhere. And I think a good wool trousers all the time. That's just me. I think it's one of the just classics that stays. But I was looking for it in warm colors. She's a regular size. She's not petite. She's not. I could not find her what we wanted because it just wasn't in the stores. Now you go look for tweed or plaid trousers this year, and you will get 743 options. So
I love the classic look. I'm obsessed with it. Last year when it started to become a thing, I was so excited. And now, here's the thing, I kind of see it. I kind of see that when someone is so on point and wear something beautiful and current, it feels to me almost a little edgy. Not because they're wearing black leather or because they're wearing something outrageous, but because there's,
go.
hmm?
That was one of the biggest points I wanted to make. When a trend is coming in new, it's always going to feel modern and it can feel slightly edgy, especially if you do it in some certain way. So let's talk about that. And
Yeah,
for everybody, Lucy's joined the chat. She's running in from outdoors because she heard we were recording in
of
this.
course, she loves podcasts.
Oh my gosh, Lucy, you're crazy. So, um, trying to think of a really great example. Like we had been wearing jackets for a while, but it was last year that we saw a real return to two styles, the lady jacket and the blazer. Lady jacket started kind of something in before. Those are two classic styles that have been around forever in certain time frames. They ebb and flow, but they really have come on. And that third piece dressing, which I think is one of the keys to having a sophisticated look, is a third piece. Like even when I'm going to pickleball, when I put on a cute jacket that goes to my pickleball outfit, twice as cute. So these jackets have really, I mean, that's what you're seeing, and you've seen these before. But anytime it's brought back and it's new and fresh, it for some people they think, oh, that's old. No, no, that is modern, and people who know style will recognize that as being on trend, and it can be slightly edgy when you wear it before everyone else.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like I see outfits that like I'm like, ooh, that looks really sharp. Or I'll see a few people like already embracing some of the styles going into the fall. And I'm like, ooh, that looks really sharp. And even though technically it's like in 6 months it's gonna be that's what we wear right now. But right now it feels a little
You're
bit like,
defining, and
ooh,
let's just take a minute to recognize the way fashion trends work. It's a wave, like a, what do you call that? Like a bell curve.
mm-hmm,
When something is brand new, it's only being worn by the most stylish, the divas, the ones who love a new trend, but for several reasons. One, it's a trend. And number two, you're not afraid to be the first one to wear it.
right.
Then we see it crest, and we have the middle people. Oh, it's everywhere, it's safe.
It's
These are girls
safe.
who
Yes.
be safe. Everybody's wearing, I wear it. And then we have the tail end. And I'll just tell you, my stepdaughter is a tail end girl. Like it has to be clearly established as a trend.
Or not even a trend at that point. It's just clearly established as part of the this is what we wear now. This is the general
Yeah.
style of the
And I
next
think
five
that has
years.
to do with your style persona.
Yeah.
Like once it's to the crest, I'm waning. I'm getting tired of it. I want to be here always on the front end of that bell curve where you've got to know your personality. And that's why some of you, if you find yourself having a certain emotion about things, I think it has to do with just how you feel about style in general. Are you a friend of the bell curve? Are you the mid? Are you the
Yeah. I mean,
falls off?
think about this. I think this is a good example. Remember when skinny jeans became a thing? And at first, everybody was like, not everybody, but a lot of people were like, soup, especially curvier women were like, absolutely afraid
Aghast.
of these skinny jeans
Aghast.
because the fad right before that was loose. The 90s had a lot of fabric everywhere. So did the 80s, right? There was no such thing at that time of skinny jeans. And now all of a sudden we've got jeggings and blah, blah, blah. And then it became, well, that's what you wear. And baggy jeans, ew, no one wears baggy jeans. Why would you wear baggy jeans? And now we're just gonna do this because all the clothes are
Some of
getting
you are
slightly
clinging and you
looser
need to
again.
stop. I'm just going to say that about the skinny jeans. Some of you are clinging and you need to stop.
Yeah, no, and now last year was already on its way out, but I mean now when you look, I was even telling my husband when you look around now, you don't see skinny jeans. You see straight leg jeans. You see slightly a little looser, fat, high waist. Most women, and even my husband's like, oh, that's what you mean. I'm like, yeah, there's no skinny jeans. Look around you, none, none. So I just
If
think
you're
that's
still wearing them,
it will make you, listeners, ladies, it will make you look dated. I mean, I'm sure if you have a really nice, crisp pair that's you can dress up with some great shoes and a blazer, like combine it with something that's on trend, it will definitely bring it into the current season,
please
right,
don't.
Gail? But if
Please
you just are
don't.
wearing like what was that what we were doing 2 years ago, it's skinny jeans,
Here's the thing, too, about
not
the
gonna
skinny
work.
jeans. That silhouette was not for most people anyway.
Yeah.
But it became such a hot fire trend. We just threw caution to the wind
Yeah.
and everybody wore them because it was the trend. And that happens, I find a lot of times with bottoms, is that and bottoms are a place we should really pay attention, but we will go along with the trend even if it's not right for us. But
Yep,
the
that's
skinny
right.
jeans to me falls under that category that the leggings did. When
Yeah.
you put a pair of leggings and they feel like they're holding your in, and you bend over and look down at your legs and they look thin, you think, oh, I look skinny. But when you turn around and look in that mirror, you may look like a barrel on stilts. And because those type of very sharp, narrow cuts, when they're narrow at the bottom, and by skinny, let me just give you all a reference. Skinny is a taper. It's going to come in all the way down the leg
Yeah,
and the leg
very
all
fit.
the way
Yeah.
down. So if you're bigger in the middle, you just said, look at my skinny legs, but comparatively, look how big I look in the middle.
Right.
This is a straight leg. It can drop from the hip for you thinner girls. If you're a little bigger, it may be a straight drop more from the knee area because you need a little bit more up top. And if yours drop, if you're a fuller girl and it drops straight from your hip, that's going to give us more of a stovepipe type look. But these are just basically, they're not tapered in at the ankle.
Right. So
From
there was
the
a
knee down, it's straight. And if you're in a store and you ever wonder, a good way you can tell about jeans is you take the hem and you fold it up to just underneath the knee, and you can tell if the hemline, if you just visually can't see that yourself, especially for you smaller sizes, because it's inches. I mean, it's tiny amounts. You just fold that up and say, and if that hemline is more narrow than the leg width, then that's going to be a taper. And that's always going to make you look bigger in the middle, unless you're like a size 0.
We digress because I did that to us. I did
Okay,
that to us
I
because I
like
thought it was
that.
a great example of how trends last. But let's get back to the classic pieces because the whole point here, right, is that how can we wear what's happening now, these classic pieces that a lot of people are afraid of because they feel these pieces feel too old for them.
And
So,
that's the beauty. Let me tell you too, some of you just need to change your attitude about it. And the people I hear it from are sometimes not the most fashion forward. They're people that live probably at the top of the bell curve. They need a little security about things before they wear them. But when something is old and it reappears, and I'm not talking it's been lingering and simmering, I mean, it comes out of nowhere and reappears, a silhouette, a detail, an overall shape, a fabric, then it is modern and new. It just is by the way
mhm.
it rode through the seasons and it's been gone and it suddenly appears. Now, what we find, because I think y'all know by now that all fashion is cyclical. There's very rarely, the only thing I've seen come that I had not seen before were the glove fit shoes. I've not seen that trend before. I'm sure it's out there somewhere, but it was unknown to me. And these are
Yeah,
shoes that they fit the foot real snugly and they come up a little
yeah.
higher on the foot than like a ballerina flat. So those and the glove boots, I'd seen glove boots before, but the glove like flat is so rarely do we see something that's just never been done. So when things cycle back in, they almost always cycle back in with a little bit of twist or a little bit of update, don't you think?
Yeah, and which I think is why you need to take a second look, right? So before you assume, like, I mean, honestly, so like, I'm assuming we'll get to like the list of the things, but even if you think about the blazers, for example, blazers were huge back in what, the 80s and slowly into the 90s and it kind of faded out. And I remember those days because if you didn't have a blazer, remember Miami Vice brought in the blazer, but I mean, all that was wrapped around the 80s trend. And so it was a
That's when
very
Ralph
different
Lauren
look.
really came to such prominence with that Americana, that tweed blazer with
Yeah.
jeans and the white crisp shirt. Oh, I was all about it.
Yeah, exactly. So now we're seeing that again, right? We're not seeing all of that again, but we're seeing those blazers, those tweed, that tweed fabric, and those blazers coming back in. But there's always something more modern about it. Because if you remember back in the day, like mega shoulder pads and oversized
Very
everything
box.
was the thing. Like it's not like that now. Now we've got some, I mean, I've seen shoulder pads. It's starting to become a little
Those
bit of a
are
thing,
out
but
there, but that's not the
yeah.
one you want. Now
Yeah.
you're seeing them more darted and fitted.
Yeah.
Um,
Sharp. Very, very sharp.
really great tweeds and plaids and fabrics, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. But they're having a little bit less of a masculine shape to them.
Yeah.
They've been feminized slightly,
That's right.
and they're just so good. And sometimes you're so happy when a trend returns because you loved it so much at the time. And that's the way I feel about this because I graduated in 1985. Those 80s were when I was living my best life, from 8th through 12th grade. And I remember I had one plaid blazer. It was from a store called The Leader. And The Leader is where you went if you really were going to get a good something. That's where the sharp girls went. And it had pink and green in it. And then I had little matching Dickies. Remember the Dickies,
Hmm.
the trouser Dickie?
Yep.
I couldn't get in a pair of Dickies now if I tried because back then I was emaciated and they were made for a pole. But I remember having like bright pink and bright yellow that
Yes.
tied the colors of my blazer. Oh my
Yes.
gosh, I thought I was so cute. But
Yes, those bright
digress.
colors.
But I do remember that blazer was a little boxy. It didn't have the darting and
Yeah, it was definitely boxy. That
the
was the look. The oversized, bright colors, um, and the fabric. There was the tweed, but there was also just cotton. Like you name it, you can get a blazer oversized with the collar up. Do you remember the collar had to be up? Like if you had a collar down, something was wrong with you. Collar always had to be up.
which
So then, how do we
we've
make these?
always seen the Ralph Lauren girls wear these
Yeah,
classic
yeah.
blazers. So that's one that has lived in the background, but it's really come up to prominence.
Is there anything we need to
So,
do specific for for our listeners if they are a little shy about embracing the tweed blazers? Anything they can do to feel like it's not an old accessory?
so you part of it adjusting your mindset if you really want to be a fashionista. If you don't care about that, then don't worry about it. Ride the top of that curve. In a few months you'll give in and your mind will change. Because sometimes I'll
Yeah,
see
that's right.
that at first I don't like it, but as it settles in a while and I see how people are wearing it, I mean, I usually am my early adopter, but there's occasionally things I don't like that I change my mind about.
Hmm.
But it's okay if you don't like something, but I just want you to stop, because when you say something looks old but it's actually fresh and modern, you kind of make yourself look like a little out of the loop if you say that in front of the right people. Not to judge. I know that sounds very fashion, only about trends. I'm not saying that. I just want you to not throw things to the side so quickly, because there's some really great pieces. And in a few months, if you're a girl that's a top of the wave girl on that bell curve, in a few months, you'll be glad you already have that piece and you'll feel like, oh, I'm so ahead of it. I am ahead of the curve.
I am on point. So then
Which
give us
is
another
what that
piece.
term means, being ahead of the curve. It's talking about the bell curve. So
Give us
I'll give
another
you
piece.
examples of things like shoes, especially. I have had so much pushback from some of my clients. Like like a loafer style that has a little bow on it. It looks
Yes.
very 1960 probably. Um, let's see, what else
I
have
know
I
exactly what you're talking about because I remember and this is true, I do. I remember my grandmother's, not my mom though, but my grandmother's shoes. She had a lot of these like loafer style shoes. Some have like a little bit of a heel. It's
Mhm.
basically kind of what they all wore because ladies didn't wear sneakers walking around. There wasn't any
Right. That was
athleisure
their
wear, right? You
comfortable
wore
shoe.
these shoes all, and so I'm seeing that shape and style coming back in, and my reaction is it is that same reaction. Oh, I'm not sure I like that. And I feel like that's okay because it's really just right now being introduced. But I, like Gail says, like I'm still keeping an open mind because in another few months, we're going to see more and more people wearing it. And you're going to go, oh, wow, looks really cute on her. Or, oh, I really like that. And then before you know it, you're going
And
to
then
be like, damn, I should have gotten some.
if
It'll be
you're a
gone.
classic girl and you're going to dress head to toe classic, then you need that classic shoe. Well,
Yeah.
that's going to be the shoe. And it's what I like about those little loafer tops have a little bow or something on them, or the shape's a little more delicate or feminine. Is again, it is less masculine than just the loafer, the
Right.
penny loafer
The
that can
penny
get.
loafer, though, is very popular again.
Oh my lord, there's a penny loafer in every version, but if you're that girl that wants a little bit different, do the little loafer with
Yeah.
the bow. Do the loafer that's perforated. I mean, there's so many things. So, for instance, the loafer, let's just go ahead and talk about loafers.
Okay. Because
Right
I'm
now,
all in for
they're
this.
available with lug soles. They're
Yes.
available
Uh-oh.
in suede. They are available in reptile prints. They are available with high heels. They are available with tassels, penny style, horsebit, and in about any color you can imagine.
Yeah.
So, how does that work out for us as we have different styles? Boho girls, loafers aren't your best choice. You classic girls, you're going to probably stick to the ones that feel more like the ones from the past.
Yeah, totally.
You edgy girls are going to go for the ones that are in the unique fabric, the unique color. But let me go back to you classic girls. Horsebit, we haven't talked about that
What's
trend.
horsebit? What's
A
horsebit?
little horsebit metal detail. It's a bit,
Yes, I've seen
a
that.
bit that
Yeah.
goes on
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
horse's back. We haven't talked about that anywhere, I don't think. And I just need y'all to know that on it's on blazers, it's on even pants. I've seen on the pockets of skirts, it's
Hmm,
on
interesting.
shoes, boots, bags. It is but again, it
Little
goes with that
detail.
classic Ralph Lauren Americana,
Yeah.
English equestrian. It hits all those. So maybe you get a loafer with a horsebit detail.
They have loafers with tweed fabric.
Yes, tweed fabric,
How
hot
cute is
pink,
that?
silver, any way you can imagine a loafer being done. So choose the loafer that matches your style.
Yeah.
Now, if you are classic, I'm really going to implore you to try one that looks a little bit like what your grandmother wore, because if you're going to be right on it in a month or two when everybody has that one and you want to be that everybody's wearing it girl. Plus, it's the modern version to bring it back with a little bit of a twist. Or say you get one of those in a different color, like you get that little loafer that has the bow, but you get it in hot pink or plum. Then it feels really modern. And that's what I mean
Hmm.
by bringing things back with a slight twist. Like your grandma was not wearing hot pink loafers or
Yeah.
moss green suede penny loafers. So I know some of these things may look old, but that's kind of that's what you're missing. That's the thing. It's a little bit of a shock value. If you really want to be trendy, you want a little bit of a, oh wow, you want people to. Now, if you're top of the bell curve, girl, just trust us that you need to get them, because in a few months you're gonna be
You
glad you.
can't get them. Yeah. No, shoes, because shoes are out now and then they go away by Christmas time.
Well, right now, for about the next month, is the probably, in my opinion, the height of finding fall pieces. Because you have to remember, stores work way ahead. Like we just finished New York Fashion Week for spring. These stores are already starting to buy their
Right.
spring stuff. Their buyers are working on that. So what they have bought and coming in that they've already accounted for is what's going to happen. And then as we hit Christmas and holiday shopping season, which is just a few weeks away, that we really start shopping for the
Gosh.
holidays, you got to realize that those um, inventories start to wax and wane, especially if you're special sizing, you wear a larger shoe, you have a wide foot width, you're petite, and those things, the things that are available to you are going to start to have holes in them. So it's just like I tell people, you buy your swimsuits in February, March, you buy your boots and winter stuff now. If you're picky, now, if you're a bargain girl, you're going to shop in November, December, January. But if you're I want the greatest and I'm a special size, or I know what I really want, you need to be shopping now. This is the time. Even if you're not going to wear it till December or January, because people say it's still too hot for that. I'm like, you're not paying attention. This is when it's available. So I really try to teach my style clients, you get it when it's available. And I'll just sidebar, we had a family member pass away today, and we're going to have to leave town to go to a funeral. And because I already have my closet has funeral attire in it, I'm not stressed at all. I'm even happy I just colored my hair, so I
You,
don't have to do that before I go. But I
do,
will go to my closet and shop for my outfit. You got to buy things when they're available, not just when you need it.
do you know that you mentioned this to other people before and on a Pride podcast too about, getting something that you can wear to a funeral, blah, 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 blah. And I had said to you off camera, I'm like, honestly, nobody cares. Nobody cares, Gail. And she's like, yeah, they do, or they should. And here's the thing. Um, Very recently, one of my family members had passed away, and it was kind of a shock to the whole family.
You
And
didn't know this.
sorry.
You didn't tell me this.
Well, we'll talk in details after. I'm trying to share the accolade here.
I'm
But
feeling like a bad
Matthew,
friend, though.
oh my
Okay.
gosh. Okay, just listeners, she now feels like now she wants, maybe we should pause. Um, No one you know, Gail. Anyways, Matthew and Mindy are going to go to the funeral, and these are my kids, 23 and 25, and then neither one have anything to wear. And they're literally panicking and running out shopping, trying to find something that is appropriate for the funeral. And so, Gail, all I was trying to say was, You bring an excellent point. We're not saying that your lifestyle is funerals, but maybe you are of an age that it kind of starts to become one. But either way, to have something that is, appropriate for general events like a funeral would be good to have in your closet. Look, she's not speaking to me now. You hear this? She's not speaking to me.
No, I'm laughing kind of under my breath, even though funerals aren't funny. The first thing one of the things I got this morning were the first after, oh my gosh, my little youngest son, he's 23. He's like, oh, is dad okay? Because this was his dad's aunt, and he's very close to her, looks a lot like her, last of a
Hmm.
generation kind of thing. He's like, then the next text is, I don't even have a suit that fits. I said, we have some jackets for you here because
Yeah.
we picked up some for him recently. And so
Yep. Yep.
mom's taking care of you still, but I do recommend it's just a good practice. People tend to want to shop when they need something, and I get that, and that does make some sense. But if it's something you absolutely know you're going to need at some point, like you go and swim in this summer, you know you're going to need a bathing suit, you're going on a beach trip, you know eventually you're going to go to a funeral if you're our age. If you're 20, you don't go to as many, I get it. But when you have to go out and buy something on
Yeah.
the fly, first of all, it's terribly stressful. You're going to pay
Hmm.
extra, and you're going to pay for something you don't probably love. And
Right.
it's just going to mess up your schedule. When you, if you know that you're going to attend funerals, always have a darker colored or whatever you think is appropriate for a funeral in there. So that was just a little sidebar.
Another sidebar. Wow. We're good. We're all over the place
Big
today.
on
So
sidebars. So
let's talk back to just pick up another. We have loafers. We've talked about the blazers. Well, I know what's the one piece that you feel like people are highly resisting, but you are in love with.
The shoes were one of them because also when we're talking about shoes, we've got a lot of different colored flats that are unique. Ballet flats with all different kinds of like one of the trends I love the most is taking something old and modernizing it is the studded ballet flat. And I'm getting pushed back on that, not for it feeling old, but people feeling like it's too edgy. So let's talk
Yeah.
about another way you get confused. Edgy can be mainstream during certain seasons, just like right now, classic is mainstream. So even us edgy girls will wear some classic. How we will wear it will be different. But like I've showed some of my clients who are like, oh, studs aren't for me. I'm like, they're for everybody right now, baby. They are. They are. I mean, the edgy girls are just like jumping up and down. We're so excited because there's studs on belts, boots, flats, loafers, purses, jeans. I got a pair with studs down the side. Cannot wait to wear those. So that's another example of something that may feel because people say, oh, that looks like the 80s. Yes, it does.
Yes, it
But
does.
back in the 80s, the studs were more like the pointed studs. How now we're seeing dome shaped studs and flat studs. So if you think it feels like 1980, it's a nod to 1980, but it's being done very different because it's not being done in a rock and roll kind of way. If
Right.
you're seeing these, they're very classic pieces, like a beautiful, the one I want is a beautiful black leather blunt toe ballet flat with flat studs on it. They're out of my size. I'm about to have a come apart because I can't find it anywhere. And Lucy's back, everyone. So that is another example. So that may make you feel weird at first because you're going like, oh, 1980 Joan Jett, rock and roll. It's not that kind of look. You've got
Right.
to look at how it's being used. They're putting that into the classic style. So again, it's that classic style with a twist. So that's one I'm just geeking over. I mean, I love this look, love it, but it is not. What was that we used to call it when we were in the 80s? The kids that were
Like
like the
golf?
not
No.
goth. Before goth, it was
Oh
like the
Lord.
Clash, the Police, U2, that kind of. What was that?
I'm trying. I know what you mean.
You had the Prepsters, and you had the. Oh my gosh, what was it called, Jen?
Okay, I'm gonna look it up.
She's gonna look at it, but it's people wore leather jackets, and it was a rock and roll Joan Jett kind of a look. You know what I'm talking about, though,
Yeah,
right?
I'm trying to see. Let's see. A punk?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Punk. So it's taking people back to that punk look, but y'all, this is not punk at all. It's not punk at all. It's being done so tastefully. It's not on ripped jeans. It's on like the pair of jeans I got are a long, wide leg, and they're just a tiny little row of studs down each leg on the
Yeah,
back, on the
I
seam.
think
It's so
that's pretty
cute.
fun, actually. Let's talk
So
about
go ahead. Go to the next one. What you got?
the pussy bow, the
I was
pussy
going to talk
bow.
about that too. People have rejected that so hard. And I'm like, you cannot live this season without a pussy bow blouse if you are.
And just by the way, before you go into all the details, because I know you will, I just went to my husband had a 60th birthday party. Happy birthday, Joe. 2 weekends ago now, I guess. Anyways, and two of my very good friends show up to the party and they had the big giant bows, but it was in the back and it was delightful. So there is modern twists even to that. We've seen blouses with them in the front and then we've seen them in the back. I'm sorry, I am all about the bow on the back. I think it is the cutest detail. It's so
I
cute.
actually turned a shirt around and wore the bow on the back because I liked it so much.
Yeah.
Go that
So
way,
that
but I
is
turned
a
it around and
thing.
it was fine. But even in the front, some of you are like, oh my gosh, that looks so old. Y'all, it is fresh and modern and it looks great with jackets. I mean, amazing because some of you get jackets that have like the shape of the collar makes a V, and then you've got all these V-neck tops because y'all got confused and thought that's the only time hair. I even accused Jen of doing that. I'm like, what did you tell these people about the V-neck
I
tops?
didn't. It's not
Or
fair.
anything else. But something that either cuts across that V or fills in that V is really cute with jacket. So the pussy
Yeah.
bow is perfect. But here, let me tell you, the pussy bow is available in a myriad of options, from tiny little tie bows that's not a true pussy bow, but gives you the wink and nod to it, to full on huge voluminous. And you need to choose based on your proportions, your breast size, because we don't put huge bows on breasts unless you're in the industry. We're going to go smaller. So you can get all kinds of options there. You can get ones that have the pleating at the front. I forgot what, like on the placket, I think that's called.
I know
And
what you call it. Like that I would say is like, isn't that a little bit more on the romantic side of things? I feel
yeah,
like I'm not sure
definitely.
I'm a fan of that, but I do love a pretty blouse and I do love blousey things and that you can find me
And
something
you
next
can get
week
them.
that.
We're seeing even, I've been talking about this since last year. We're seeing like little ties for women. And I've also started to see, I'm not going to say it too loud, but the scarf peeking back, the little tiny tie scarves. Yes, I said scarf.
Yeah, but
Don't.
they're fashion scarves. It's different than let's be clear. The big, long, bulky scarves that you could wrap around twice or tie in big knots. That is not what we're saying. That is long gone. And I
We're
was
not
a scarf
talking
girl
about
once
ones
upon
that
a
look like
time.
a
This is
tablecloth. They're so
different.
big. This is the little tie at the neck
Yeah,
scarf, the very
yeah.
short, teeny. We're seeing some of this. So we're seeing all these neck embellishments is really the trend. And again, these things I try to tell people all the time. Trends come in groupings. So this is just part of that classic look, and it also happens to look very good together. So a lot of
Yes.
times trends come in that look good together. So
It,
these little embellished necklines look very good with the blazers and the jackets.
it's like fashion
So
designers knew what they were doing.
it's as if. And
It's
you can
weird.
get pussy bows that are up here, and you can get them that have a little drop neck to them. So it's opening it up if you have a very short or wide neck and you need that openness. So there's a pussy bow blouse for everyone. There
What?
really is. And it is such a cute, cute trend. It can look quite serious. You can wear that to court, but you can wear it on a sexy night with your husband if you get one of the low cut ones. So I think the pussy bow, that's a great example. And again, they're everywhere. They're in every price point, every color, every fabric. When you see something like that, you need to know that's a hot, hot trend. Now,
Okay, okay. I can't because I can't help myself. I had to look up why we call them pussy bows. Um, and do you know?
mm-mm.
Okay, here we go. This is how old this trend is, this style. The term pussy bow originated in the 1930s
Wow.
and is thought to refer to the ribbons that were tied around the necks of pet cats known as pussies, which, as we know, is not necessarily a nice word today, but that is where the word came from. There you go. You're
That makes
welcome,
you
ladies and
say the
gentlemen.
word with bow at the same time.
The bow's name comes from this resemblance to the decorative bows on kittens and cats. So there you go.
from the
both feminine and
1930s. Don't
professional
you love
clothing.
that? That's part of the thing. If you're a student of style, when you learn the history and you see things, how things right, it is just so cool. Okay, I think my husband's decided to mow the lawn right now.
Oh,
You
that's
hear?
good because my daughter was gonna start vacuuming about the same time, but I told her to please wait a little bit. You can barely hear it though, so listeners,
People don't know we're running a high level operation over here. Good. Now let's talk about a place where people can get really confused is heritage fabrics.
okay,
What heritage fabrics are, they are fabric styles that have been around for a very, very long time. And they're called heritage because they will never completely go away. But they do trend in and out, especially in how much we wear them or how we do wear them. And these are things like herringbone, Glen plaid, tartans, uh, what's the other one? Houndstooth. Those are four of the biggest ones. Even I would put polka dot can be considered heritage a little bit.
really?
Window pane plaid. These that just are always, and we know them by name. We know them by name. So, but you're the color expert. So let's run through the colors that we generally see in these.
Okay, first I just want to say to our yet listeners and our viewers on YouTube, um, because I know you're going to ask for it, like I need a visual, I need a visual. So by the time this goes into the blog post, I will have some things on the blog post that has a little bit of a visual of all those patterns that she just mentioned, just as an FYI. Okay.
And if
Um,
you were in our Style Masters group, we did an entire month of patterns
we
last
did.
year.
We did.
And we
But
feel
just in
that.
case you don't know what it is, um,
But let us
okay,
help you a little bit because
yeah,
these can be very classic, but they also
yes.
can be worn in very, very modern ways. And these come about regularly. This is not a style we haven't seen since 1930.
Yeah, yeah,
These
yeah.
come in and out a lot and they live, they simmer a little bit too. They're never completely gone. Sometimes
I
they're
would
much
agree.
harder to find.
I would
So
agree.
let's take on Glen Plaid. How would you describe Glen Plaid and what would you say about it?
I don't know. See, I don't know.
For me, Glen Plaid almost always has a type of beige or taupey background.
Spell it.
Glen, just Glen, like a
I
glen,
got it. Okay.
like a
Oh, yeah,
meadow.
yeah. Okay.
And these
It's
do go back a lot of times to like hunting and equestrian
yeah.
and royalty. A lot of them are related to royal families, but the Glen Plaid is one of the most sedate plaids.
Yes. It's tone on tone. It is basically imagine you're just doing like four lines this way, four lines this way kind of pattern.
It's
And it's
usually a very
very
simple pattern with,
yeah.
they usually do it with neutrals, but here's what we're
Yes.
seeing now. You will see them take that same fabric and run a pink thread through there.
Yeah, I'm seeing it right now. I see some with like a really cool brown and they have like a red, one little red thread coming through
Yeah.
or blue. Yeah.
That's how it's modernized. It can be
Hmm.
also modernized as cut, and how you wear it can be modernized. Glen plaid, though, I do love for our girls that have softer coloring
Hmm.
because it's always tonal. It's not usually. Now we're seeing some crazy stuff going, but usually it's tone on tone. So those of you who wear softer colors, you like
Yeah.
your beiges, your grays, your soft tones. It's lovely with soft tones.
I also think so. One of the things that's nice about this particular plaid is that it reads as a neutral. So it gives you texture, it gives you, a step into those heritage patterns, but it reads like a neutral. So even if it has a thread running through it, you're going to be looking at it as a whole piece and you're going to say, is this a warm, neutral, cool, that's how you're going to look at it. It is going to be very unusual for you to find something that's so high contrast or so colorful that it won't read like a neutral, like a solid.
Now, here's how we're seeing it that looks modern versus something that would. Let me give you an example of something that would not look modern. In back in the 80s, when we were wearing skirts and boots, we wore some skirts that were gathered at the waist and they added a little fabric fat, these little plaid skirts, but a lot of times they had fabric around the waist that's kind of bunched up and it could make you look bigger. Those are not the skirts we're wearing today. We're
Right.
seeing this in a pencil skirt with a
Hmm.
high slit and maybe some large belt loops that give it a modern twist. We're seeing this in all kind of pants, including the little almost like a cigarette pant. So it is a little cropped and a little narrowed at the bottom. We're seeing this in wide leg trousers. And when you bring something that hasn't been in a very long time back, like a wide leg cuff
A
trouser,
vest.
yes, these are now modern. And you've got to get that in your head because you're telling yourself something that's not true as far as fashion sense. Now, if you still feel that way, that's okay. We tell you all the time, it's okay to feel how you feel, but I'm just telling you that from a style perspective, it's not accurate.
Would you wear both a top and bottom in Glen Plaid?
I would not
I'm
because
giggling because I think
it's
it
not normally
turns
a
into
go
a weird suit,
combo
but
for me, but I would put it on a client. And I think that is a very modern look. It harkens back to
mm,
men's suits of long
it
ago.
does. That's why I was like, would you do that? Right.
But the last time plaid was in for women, we weren't really doing the matchy match. Now the matchy match is hot. Like we've even seen some retailers doing, and I saw it, and I'm begging a client to get it. It was a collarless vest, the blazer,
Yeah.
and the pants, all in the same fabric. And I was dead. I'm like,
Yeah.
that is because it was like taking a men's suit and now it's cut to women's for more. I can't remember us. Maybe one time way back in the 70s or 80s, we saw a glimpse of that, but that has not been around in a very, very long time. And the way we've worn plaids and heritage fabrics was a little touch with something else. So the modern thing is to just go all in.
I like it. I like it. What's the
Okay,
next one?
okay, let's talk about houndstooth.
Okay. Houndstooth is um well, okay, the very traditional houndstooth is black and white. And quite frankly, I'm not sure that's ever necessarily gone out of style. Like,
I'm saying none of these are completely out of style,
yeah, I
but
mean, like that's it.
not,
It's very typical black and white. Like you can find other colored versions, of course, but it's got that it's but often you'll see as black and white. I mean, like I'm looking like on the web like on the webbers right now, trying to just get some other examples in my brain.
I've
And
seen it hot pink and black.
yeah, yeah, exactly,
Those
exactly.
feel a little punk rock, and we're not seeing so much of that.
Yeah.
But
So for those, it's basically like it's typically only two colors. It's not like you couldn't have a third color in there, but it's typically only two. And it's got this very jagged tooth-like quality to it. So it's very geometric and usually very small print,
where
right?
it
Very
can be
small.
really interesting is when they do it in gray and black instead of white and black.
So it's less intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I see one here that's brown and dark brown, like a camel brown and a dark brown.
Okay.
That would be very
Okay.
pretty
I've
too.
seen that.
Yeah.
So houndstooth typically works better for you that have higher contrast levels that are where the brights because they almost it's not a tonal, it is a always a contrast almost.
Yeah, yeah, and the pattern is also very jagged, so it gives a lot more energy and kind of a dynamic feel. So it's a super fun pattern, not crazy or anything. But I would agree with Gail, like it's going to be for those that really want a little bit more of that contrasty print. But but these days, as you know, right, there's going to be low contrast versions also.
Yeah,
There's
they're
going
going
to
to be
be.
harder to find, but
Yeah,
traditionally,
harder to find,
it's
right?
high contrast. Since when that's bright, cool deeps. I mean, I love houndstooth. Now, if we go over to herringbone, and those two people get mixed up a lot, I get them mixed up a lot. Herringbone is way more subtle. It falls under the category of like a tweed almost. It's
Yeah, it's
oh,
Yeah, and for those that are wondering what the difference is, a herringbone, imagine zigzag, zigzag, zigzag going in rows only going across, and it's typically tone on tone or two different, basically two shades. So it reads as a solid, very subtle, very beautiful. Kind of reminds me,
also under the same category as like when we see a garment that is what is that called that I don't like that where white is what is that called? Where white threads woven in.
oh, like
Uh,
a heather.
yeah, heather. It's
Yeah,
almost that same concept because it is tonal.
yeah. It has the same feel as the Glen Plaid, basically. I mean, it
From a
really does.
distance, it's going to look solid.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about the herringbone is, it's great for pattern mixing because it's such a subtle fabric, and we are seeing it in some new colors. That's what's really modern. Like we've seen that in, I know J. Crew right now has a herringbone schoolboy jacket. It is beautiful because it's a very soft rose pink. And that's an unusual twist on the herringbone. Usually we see herringbone in like grays and browns, those
Yes,
new.
exactly. Yeah.
Oh, you can wear it in those right now. That's very modern. But also, if that feels too old for you, go with a colored version. They have it in a blue and a pink, and it's stunning. And again, it's great for
Yes. In
you
fact,
put
I'm
it on
looking
with
right
a
now as you're talking, and there's a adorable blue herringbone jacket, like a long wool kind of fall type jacket, and it's just so cute. So, so cute.
Let me insert right there. Another way that you wear these heritage prints and heritage fabrics is wear it in something unexpected, like a shoe, a trench
Yeah.
coat, a purse. If you really feel like it feels old and stuffy to you, take it and twist it up. Do the unexpected. The unexpected almost always feels modern and cool.
hmm
And what did
Yeah.
we didn't talk about tartan.
Tartan.
Tartan is one they're really modernizing because the tartans and just your basic plaids, they're doing them in, like, I know Bowden has a skirt right now that's wool.
Yes.
It's the brightest, craziest color combination. The
Yeah,
color,
I gotta tell you, this is not my favorite plaid. Like, I can't help it. I can't get it out of my head. It makes it feel like Christmas to me, no matter what colors you throw in there. It reminds me of the flannel shirts. I have a hard time leaving that.
look at the Bowden skirt right now. Go do it.
No,
You
I
will.
know exactly which one you're talking about it, and it is adorable. I'm just saying it's definitely something that um if out of all of
It's,
them, it's
it's
probably the
the
most
skirt.
fun when
It's
it
a
comes to the
little
colors.
like
Yeah.
short, straight skirt, and the
Yeah.
color combination is so unexpected. It's like yellow, pink, blue. The
Yes.
colors don't
And
even really
it's
go
super
together.
fun. And like there's that plaid is everywhere. Like in shoes and skirts and what I would just I don't want to see it in a button down top. Unless it's like
Oh, flannel. No, 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 no.
right, that's all I'm saying. Like I love it as a skirt. I think it's super cute. I just I got, the only way it, reminds me of like you gotta be careful, right? It kind of reminds me of kilts if you wear it as a skirt. It just
Kilts are
have a
very cool. Let me just say, especially for men, they're very cool. But there's a company, funny story, they make some, I think they call it a utility kilt, and it's a modern kilt
really,
worn by rock bands and
yeah.
stylish rock bands. And I'm here for it. If you're a young guy and you really want to get out there, get you a kilt. But going back to these
Mhm.
flights and tweeds, another thing I've seen, and I said, look for it in the unusual color combination, but also the print can be done in a different fabric. So it's not the true heritage fabric. They've just, and a good example is there's one version of like the Glen plaid that's done in like browns and rust, but
Okay.
one of the, I mean, a very high end retailer has taken that and put it into a knit turtleneck.
And here's
It is to die for if you're a warm girl. I mean, it's so unexpected to see a plaid turtleneck.
yeah, that sounds gorgeous. What I'm also seeing for the tartan plaid is the plaid is at a diagonal on the bias, which I think looks really, really sharp when you put it onto a dress or a skirt.
And see,
So,
I don't like that look for me. For something when they turn the plaid up sideways, I don't know. But now I have seen it where they've mixed it laying straight and laying at like a diagonal. And so
yeah,
mix the textures. We're seeing a lot of that. Um, odd cuts, like asymmetrical,
yeah, yeah.
which would not have been the way. So here's kind of the thing, is that wearing it the exact way it used to be worn, or are we wearing it in a new and different way? Both can be very cool. But here's what you guys got to hear. A lot of this comes down to you and your confidence and
hmm
how you carry clothes and how you walk into a room. Like when you put on one of these classic tweed pants, a beautiful pussy bow blouse, but then you get a pointy toed suede boot and a cool pouch bag, and you walk into that room like you own it, nobody's going to say you look old.
Right. Yeah,
Nobody's
you
going
look
to look
super,
like
super
grandma.
cute.
They're going
Yeah.
to go,
Yeah.
wow. So it's how you're putting it together. And yes, we do put some of the old things together, but the pussy bow blouse and the tweed kind of come from different places along the spectrum. Sometimes we see it come from one time period, is what I'm trying to think of.
Right. But I feel like that's perfect together. Probably because they're just so true classic style pieces that they just go so perfectly together. Um, and that and like the vest, like the pussy bow with a tweed vest or a plaid vest, and maybe even just some. And if you want to, I mean, the way I would wear it is I wouldn't necessarily then wear also trousers because I don't have my lifestyle doesn't work that way. It's
I don't have a lot of
I'd wear it
call
with jeans, some really nice jeans and some cute loafers. That's how
And
I would wear it.
some of these too is like a lot of those require dry cleaning, and that's just not the society we live in now. But
Right.
here's what you can do: you can take that a tweed blazer and wear it with ponte pants. So
Yeah.
you're having to wear, and you've got all these great trouser cuts made out of fabrics like ponte, which is the
Yeah.
most user wear
I
friendly,
know.
uh, inexpensive, great fabric we've come up with in a very long time.
Yep.
I was going to also say where you modernize this is with the twist too.
Hmm.
Like say you take those tweed pants, but you put on a turtleneck sweater, which sounds like how we used to wear it. And turtlenecks are trending back.
I
I'm
love
seeing that
turtlenecks.
this season.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing them in great fabrics, great textures, great colors. Or they've got a twist, like they have a top that zips and falls over more like a cow neck, or like I said, the suede boots with studs, that is never going to feel or look old.
Right. Right.
Not. And you can wear those little, if you took that little loafer with the little bow on it that seems so sweet and charming, but you paired it with a really mod fabric on the pants, or
Yeah.
like a little short tweed skirt
Hmm.
and a boldly colored sweater, then that whole outfit feels and looks modern. Now, what we're also seeing a lot of that can really make it look cool is you're not going to wear that with nude knee highs like your granny did. We're just not. We're going to wear that with patterned trouser socks or patterned tights or an opaque colored tie that's the same color as the shoe.
I'm in for it. I'm ready.
The tight thing is,
I
I
love it. This reminds me so much of the early 90s when there was a phase where the girls were wearing like very short skirts, like ridiculously short, but it was like,
Addicted
oh,
to love. Can we talk about that video? Might as well. They said you're addicted to love.
yeah,
Robert
yeah,
Plant in it, and all the girls had on shorts and
right. Like, but
wasn't it black hose?
it was like, but yeah, exactly. But it was okay because you wore it with these opaque black hose. And so it didn't feel like you were wearing something risque. It's just what you wore. And then you wore your clunky loafers with it. I just remember this so well. It's just such a, it's like
I've
amazing
already
what comes
worn my.
back.
I've got some faux leather shorts, and I didn't want to pay the price of real leather because I don't think that's a trend that's going to stay a long time. But I really wanted to wear the shorts trend, and I've already worn it with some little
She's so
sheer
proud of
ankle
herself.
socks. I
So
mean,
proud of herself.
and a little leopard. I talked about this last week because I was so loving that outfit. I wear it every day. I'm like, this outfit is so, sometimes you just put it on, it's like head to toe.
It's 100%
It
Gail. That's the
is
thing.
me.
If you see her, you can check her out on Facebook and maybe it's on Instagram also. I can't remember, but it's super cute. But it is and it's not but and it's 100% Gail, which means like it's not me. Like I personally wouldn't wear it, but not because I don't like it. It's just that it is so like I just can tell the joy that she was able to like pull something so trendy
I was
together because
happy
Gail
all day
likes to
in that
stand
outfit.
out.
You know how when you wear something that doesn't feel like you or you don't love and you feel like crap all day? I
Like
felt
that gray sweater you wore last time we recorded, that one?
that one. Yeah, I want you to know it's in the giveaway pile. I
The
just like,
first words out of her mouth when we got on Zoom before we started recording was like I did not even hi. It was I hate this sweater. This is why I can't wear gray. This is a terrible sweater. You actually used something more like I want to vomit or something like that. She was just so unhappy with, but it was
for
cute.
your color
It
style,
had
I
little
would have
dots.
understood why gray really doesn't work for me. And gray, in that color gray, you think, oh, cool and deep. Grays should be gravy with black hair and green eyes.
It was not bad. It just wasn't you. Let's be
She favored
clear.
it all for
It,
me.
it was it was not bad. Was it your best? Maybe not, but it wasn't bad. You
On,
just wasn't you. It wasn't bright
on.
pink. It wasn't bright or black or white. So, you know,
It was polka dotted.
it
That's
was
what
cute. That's what I'm saying. It was
never
cute.
bought just that in plain, but it was polka dot. So the polka dots got me. I have a polka. My curtains in my office, my draperies are polka dot. I do love a good,
I
but it
do
has.
love a polka dot.
It's
Yeah.
not little tiny polka dots, not Swiss dot. It's like oversized. Like, these are like 1 foot polka dots.
Oh, I see them. Yeah, I never even noticed that before. Now you point it out. Yeah, now I
I
see it.
saw them.
That's
I
so
have them.
funny.
So back on track once again, but I felt so cool in that outfit. And here's another thing for you midlife women, a lot of times I hear from you that you're a little bit like, especially in the summer when people are going bare legged, you really are self-conscious about your legs. You got sun damage, you got varicose veins, maybe a little cellulite or crepiness. Girl, it's your time. Roll that skirt up above your knee and put on opaque tights. Now, let's talk about the opaque tight. It should not be a dark colored skirt, a light tight, and a dark shoe. This is tonal.
Right, it has to be tonal.
I
Right,
think the
exactly.
opaque tight, if it's opaque, in my mind, what looks best is if it at a minimum matches either the skirt or the shoe.
Mhm.
Preferably, you get a monochromatic. Like if you took a brown suede skirt or shorts, did a brown opaque tight, and the
Yeah,
same color shoe, that is just
I would
stunning.
I would wear that. See, I'm giving you ideas. Gail's taking me shopping next week. So in person, ladies and gentlemen, yes. So,
And we're
um,
also seeing a return of the pattern tights because you couldn't even a few years ago, it was hard to go in a store and buy a pair of pantyhose. Hardly anyone was selling me more, but we're making a comeback.
yeah,
But
in the US, that's for sure. Yeah.
it's not your mom's suntan nude legs. My mother used to buy those that came in an egg at the grocery store.
Yeah.
In tan. They were so
And they
dark.
would always, those are the worst though. They would always like snag or rip within like a one-time use.
They were, she wasn't buying any silk canes. My mom was so cheap.
It's really funny because hose in the US are not, and tights and hose are not, I mean, they're obviously people are wearing them right now, but they're not a general thing. Like if you go to Europe though, women in shorts and skirts always wear hose and like really beautiful high quality. This is not the stuff that you got in the egg. This is like
And we have
gorgeous,
some
but it is
brands.
just what they wear. Like that's
There's
just,
brands out there right now that
yeah,
are, that's all they do is great high quality hosiery.
right.
Now, I'm a train wreck on tearing things up. So $50 for tights is not happening for Gail Scott because I'll run into a buzz saw. I mean, something will happen. I can tear up stainless steel. I'm
So
just,
not only does she tear her stockings, but she loses a part of her leg. It just
I mean,
happens.
I am just, I have to think through how dangerous I am. I'm kind of just klutzy, like I can go down the steps or I bump in. I'm just, that's just me. But my clients who are a little more delicate and take really good care of the things, they don't mind to pay $40 for a beautiful pair of tights.
Yeah, high quality. Yeah.
Less expensive. I mean, you can get good tights at Target. But what we saw happen, like a few years ago, you saw the hosiery departments from major retailers disappear. There was no hosiery department. They might have one little section of hose, which I remember one time going out shopping and you would see whole, you know, 20 by 20 areas of hosiery and stockings and socks and all that stuff. I think you'll see some of that return. At least you'll see a bigger
Well,
display.
and online shopping too has changed everything. So I think a lot of people
That's
for
where you're going to
that
find
kind of stuff, they're not going to go to the store. They're just going to buy it online.
online is where you're going to find the
Yeah.
best tights. If you're my client and you want tights, I can tell you where to get the best
Yeah.
ones. And it's, there is an art to getting that just right. I'm telling you, do not come out in legs, suntan, new pantyhose. We
No,
will
don't
be
do that.
you. This is it's a little bit artisan. It's either tonal or it's patterned. And the patterns are everything. And I'll just tell you, nobody loves a fishnet like Gail Scott. I remember years ago, I had a pair of blue
Oh, you
suede
bet you were fun in the 80s.
and I wore
Oh
blue
yeah.
fishnets, but they were oversized fishnets. But now let me tell you
That's
this,
right.
if you're wearing an outfit where you just need like nude hosiery because your legs are looking kind of rough or it's cold, go for a nude, a tiny little nude fishnet.
Little
Will
fishneck. Yeah,
way
that
more
sounds
modern.
gorgeous.
You go with a tiny little nude stripe, way more modern. And these are subtle, may not even see them from a distance, but like because of the return of hosiery and chocolate being such a trending
Oh
color,
yeah.
chocolate tights are everywhere. Now, don't wear a red dress and chocolate tights unless you're wearing chocolate boots. But it's you don't want that high contrast cut. You're not cutting off the leg and the shoe. These are things that are tonal. They go together. Or is something like I wore the black shorts, but it was still warm, so I wore a crew length sock that was a very sheer white with black polka dots. So it really just looked like my skin with black dots on it, which say she's got black measles on her feet, but I loved it. But
Right.
that tied into the short in an interesting way, but it was letting my skin. So there's all kind of options. You could do a flesh tone tight with black polka dots with a black skirt. That would be incredible. These are ways you're going to make all this look modern because if you put that on with like a little just retro ballet slipper, that's suddenly going to look quite modern.
Yeah. So let's wrap this up because we are at time. And I will say this, and then Gail, you can obviously end this amazing conversation with your wrap up. But here's the thing with what we're talking about and embracing whatever is coming into the stores and what's on trend and what's going to stick around for a while is that change is inevitable. Just like Gail had said, things are cyclical. If we wore the same thing every single year, we would be so bored with it. Like, change is required for our brains to find interest and to really start enjoying shopping again and to have a little fun. You don't have to be outrageous. And yeah, some things might be like, whoa, I have to wait till the top of the
Some of
curve,
us
like Gail
do.
says, but
Some of us do have to be outrageous.
yeah, some of you do, and that's fine. You do you, but don't not do anything because trying something new and finding something that is still in your style and in your personality and in your color palette, it's kind of like a renewed sense of, oh, this feels like me. Oh, and now you look at some of the stuff in your closet and you go, gosh, that doesn't really feel like me anymore. So you're always evolving. Your style's always changing. Please
And some
embrace a couple of
people
those
are
things.
just slower to change. Like I like change just for the sake of change. Like I
Yes.
wake up some days and just don't want to do anything more. I mean, it's even with my food. You can ask my husband. Like right now, I'm on a grits kick, so watch out. Next,
About the grits
I can't get
kick.
enough of cheesy grits. But in a few months, I'll probably not want to eat cheese grits for a while. I'll be on to something else, and that's just the way my brain works. Some of you are slower. So for you, it may be bringing in one or two of these new pieces and mixing them with something you already feel comfortable in.
Yes,
And that would be
exactly.
a great way to introduce something that you're a little bit unsure about or you just don't quite have the confidence. And that's one thing I talk with women a lot about. They'll say, I really like that look. I just don't have the confidence. That breaks my heart, but also the good news is I feel like we can build confidence. And that's
Yes.
part of what I love to do in women. And you build confidence with little deposits. So maybe you take that one thing that feels a little funny to you, maybe that little shoe, and you put it with some things you already have. So you just gradually now see, I'm going to jump in the deep end of the pool. I'm going to go head to toe, and that will make me very happy. But if that's not you and you need just do the one little shoe with some things you're already comfortable with, your own pair of jeans, and slide it in. The other way we did not get to about some of these, like the heritage fabrics and the things, is do it in unexpected colors. We kind of mentioned this, but I just want to make a big point of it. So it's Glen plaid, but you wear it with a royal blue sweater. It's
Right.
the expected, or you do that little bow um, on a little loafer and you do it in some fantastic color. Like, I'm
Mhm.
seeing a lot of wine and grape and
Yeah.
the colored shoes. Navy is trending.
Navy. Yep.
Navy boots are
Yeah.
hot. They're not as easy to find, but they're out there when you can find. That is so much more modern than black with
Yeah.
some of your clothes. So
Yes.
if nothing else, just think about trying it in a different color, and I bet it'll feel much more youthful to you. So just to remind yourself that what's old is new again, And what's really old can seem like the most modern thing out there. And quit telling yourself that it's old because that's all in your head.
Okay,
Got,
until then,
got anything else?
no,
All right. Well, we will close with that. What's old is new again. And until next time, go and get your Moxie on. Bye now.
see ya.